Welcome to the College Baseball Central Network, bringing you 90 feet closer to the greatest show on dirt.
Good evening, everybody. It's 5:30 here in the American time zone, I always call it, and in the grand United States. I live in Omaha, as many of you know. I have another guest with me coming up just shortly here on episode 1 of CBC Radio. I called it an episode. I guess I probably shouldn't call it an episode. This is designed to be sort of a radio show where you turn on the radio on your way to work, and that's what you're hearing. Ironically, it's 5:30. That's not when you're going to work for 90% of people. But the goal here is you get home or you're on your way home. Maybe if you're an extra hard worker, could never be me, could never be my guest from what I know. But if you're wanting to hear college baseball at 5:30 in the evening every day in your central time zone, I shouldn't say every day, once a week, Wednesday, if this is a huge hit, we'll get to that point where it's every day. But for now, just once a week on Wednesdays, 5:30 Central, this is your place to be. If you aren't familiar with me, I don't know how you got here, but I'm Noah Darling with College Baseball Central. I founded College Baseball Central in 2016. It slowly evolved into something a little bit more legitimate from the name that it once was, in CWS 247 to now College Baseball Central as you know it today. As I've as I've said in my blogs, if you pay attention to those, it's a daily blog that is in fact not daily. So inherently, I'm already lying to you. If you pay attention, you know that YouTube has been a point of emphasis for College Baseball Central entering 2026. And if you've looked at College Baseball Central this week, you've seen it. You've seen our guys go live every night of the week this week. I've enjoyed tuning in and watching it myself. It's something that we've struggled with in the past, and we're trying to make it a bigger thing for you guys as we move forward, because the reality is you probably don't have cable at home. We all stream. It's not like we're all very old people like my guest kind of is tonight. I hate to keep alluding to my guest, but a pretty big fish that I'm excited to have and talk to in just a few minutes. But we all have, in this modern age, streaming capabilities and the ability to rewatch things whenever we want to rewatch things. And YouTube is a big part of that. We have YouTube TV, but we also have YouTube, the regular streaming app. And I hope you're watching me on YouTube right now. You're probably watching me on Twitter. If you're watching me, if you're listening, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're hoping to make it more successful. We have over 1,000 subscribers. So 1,000 people just like you have already said this is a good enough product for me. We appreciate you guys, and thank you for your continued support. But if you're listening right now, you're not subscribed, you're not liking this tweet, video, however you're watching me or listening to me, go ahead and do that. It means a lot. You followed College Baseball Central for 10 years now, and we're hoping to take that next step, and that means your support as well. And again, it would just mean that we're doing something right for you, because the reality is if you don't like what we're doing, we're going to stop doing it. And we're committed to doing what we think you want. And if, again, it's on you to tell us if you don't like it. So if you don't like it, don't like this. But if you like it, go ahead and like it. Funny how that works. So the point of this is, again, it's going to be very lighthearted. I think that over the years, if you've seen my tweets, you've seen me as sort of a beacon of professionalism, somebody that everybody admires to be. Those are just words that many people come up to me on the street and say. But on another scale, you've seen me tweet from what was once CWS 247 in what I hope was a humorous, witty fashion that probably got you on board with what we were doing. I want to tap more into that as we do this in 2026, while also balancing professionality. And a lot of that, I think, ties in a lot with, again, the guest I have waiting in the wings in just a few minutes. Very excited to speak with this individual, whether it's a him or a her. In 2026, sometimes you don't know. In this case, I really don't know whether it's a male or a female I'm speaking to. I do know, but you don't. So that's kind of fun for me. Looking ahead, just before we get into the guy waiting in the wings, guy or girl, I say, CBC in 2026 is taking the next step. I've outlined that a little bit. We're going on YouTube more often. We're coming to you in your living room live every single night. We're going to try to do our best to get those uploaded on Spotify as quickly as we can, on YouTube for rewatch. We want you to come to College Baseball Central for your coverage on every single conference in America. If you feel your conference, your team is not getting enough love, whether it's with the big guys or with us, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email. It's in my bio on Twitter. We will help get that addressed. The reality is we are here to serve you, and we're not going to ask for your money directly. The reality is we can make money doing this on YouTube. We hope to do that because we would love your financial support, but we're not going to reach into your wallet and take it. That's something we have a lot of pride in at CBC, especially moving forward. as we continue to bring you coverage, I always say from coast to coast. I'll be in California week 2. We've got guys located all over the East Coast. I'm in the Midwest myself. My guest, the newest member of CBC, is also in Omaha with me. We've got guys in every corner of the country and girls, and we're excited to bring you fantastic coverage yet again in 2026, all the way from this weekend. I'm sure you're aware, if you're tuned in right now, college baseball starts this weekend, and it goes all the way until the end of June. We intend to be there at every pitch, whether you see us or not. We're going to be consuming the content. We're going to be giving you our top 25 rankings as the season goes on. We're going to be giving you almost daily written pieces of content. We're going to be coming at you with video content every single day. Check us out, College Baseball Central, on Twitter, Instagram. We have a kind of dormant Facebook. You're watching us on YouTube, I hope, right now. Catch us on TikTok. That's something we're getting into. Hopefully, again, maybe our guests can spark that. And then collegebaseballcentral.net. Our site's getting a facelift. That's my little insider tidbit to you. That will be announced hopefully in the next coming days. You can see a brand new collegebaseballcentral.net, something we're very excited about, and we have Matt Grissom to thank for it. I know he's tuned in tonight. He's a new member of CBC, along with the rest of the team at College Baseball Insiders. They do fantastic work. We've also partnered with Pair Ratings this season, and we're looking forward to just diversifying our work, putting numbers behind what we say, because I think when we talk to the guys at CBI or Pair, they'll sit and tell you that we do good work, I hope. At least that's why they signed on and said, you're in a good spot already. But we told them we want to take the next step and include stats, analytics, things that I failed geometry in 9th grade. I don't understand half the things that these guys say. I was in a Zoom with Pear and Matt Grissom from CBI/CBC at this point, and Pear pulled up his code that he uses for all of his data. PairRatings.com. If you haven't checked it out, unbelievable website. If you're a college baseball junkie, place to go right now. PairRatings.com. You can see everything. Follow him on Twitter for things like his trapezoid of excellence. If you like college basketball stats, Pair Ratings is an unbelievable resource in this game. He's going to be more and more elevated as each week goes on this season. He has, I think, 4,000 followers right now. I would not be surprised if he had over 30 or 50,000 followers by the end of the season. Followers aren't everything, but this guy is gasoline right now in the college baseball space. When he showed me his lines of code, it was like I went back to ninth grade geometry, and I was asked to do cosines, tangents, and the other things that I miserably failed at. In geometry, there was a one point in time when I took a test and got a 31%. I retook the same test and got a 13%. Some would say that's a statistical improbability. I can't say that because I don't know how stats work, but I do know that Pear knows how stats work. I know Matt Grissom knows how stats work. Really excited to have them on board this year. But all that to say, College Baseball Central is taking the next step in 2026, and we're excited that you continue to support us in that venture. We're going to be everywhere. Now we're bringing you numbers behind our opinions, turning those into facts, because when passion meets opinions, you get facts. I believe in the words of Mac from It's Always Sunny. That's a deep pull. But the idea to do sort of a weekly radio show came about when the discussions of what do our shows look like at College Baseball Central. We have the ACC covered, some of the best ACC coverage in the game, with ACC just means less. They go on twice a week. Then you go on and you watch Southern Fried Baseball, a growing SEC podcast. It's so easy to talk about the SEC, and these guys do it all the time. So they're well immersed in that culture, and it's cool to see the way that Jake McKeever has grown in the space, for better or for worse. If you know, you know. And then we've got a potential Big Ten podcast starting up. If you're a Big 12 guy like me, you can listen to Jamie Plunkett and I discuss the Big 12 we record Monday nights. We hope to have that out to you every Tuesday morning at the absolute latest. I usually listen again Monday night. Jamie's really good about getting that uploaded. That's the Flyover League on Spotify or Apple. We're 3 episodes in. I'm excited about continuing that project. So we feel we have the core 4 conferences nailed down. We want to expand more into mid-majors. That's when we turned to Andrew Rydell with the Rydell Report. He went live, I believe it was Monday night, and then I believe he's going live again tomorrow night. I think that schedule might become a little bit more rigid and stuck in my memory moving forward. I hope it's stuck in your memory too, because Andrew's excited about mid-majors. Nobody knows the American like Andrew does. Now we've got him in Florida, so he's surrounded by all kinds of new programs that he can sink his teeth into. We're excited about that progression as well. But when it came time for me, I thought, if I'm doing the Big 12 deal on Monday nights, that's not really under our umbrella. That's not on our YouTube. Where can I make my presence known, because if I'm going to be urging people to do something, I feel like I have to do it myself. And I'm excited to do something solo. I've never done anything alone before. I say I have a guest. That's my hope every single time I do this. But the reality is I've been talking to you alone for 10 minutes now, and I don't know how well it's going. So again, if you're listening, leave a like, subscribe, comment, tell me I'm the worst person in the world. I know LSU fans do it to me almost daily. But this is all about taking my tangents, taking my weird thoughts I have. I'll sit and drive into work and think about, isn't it amazing that the College World Series took general admission away in 2021 to make money, bringing back tickets to be $45, whether you're behind home plate or out in the outfield. And they haven't felt the pain of that because they've had such great teams in the College World Series, from Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Tennessee, and LSU, who will pay hand over foot to sit anywhere and watch their team win a national championship, as all of those programs did. Whereas in 2019, as maybe my guest can chime in with, Vanderbilt and Michigan was not a greatly attended College World Series final. It was a great series. Vanderbilt won the 3 games, one of the best teams of all time. But from a ticket sales perspective, the College World Series has not been hurt since they made that move. Why do I bring that tangent up? Because it's the things I think of on the drive home when I listen to other radio shows, when I listen to Spotify, whatever I have going. I want somebody to say the weird things I think of. Unfortunately, it's got to be me right now, but I hope that there are other guests that can add to my craziness when I think of these random things that if I go up to random people and say, isn't it amazing that CWS Omaha has been unimpacted by their move to get rid of general admission, people would look at me like I'm a crazy person and probably hospitalize me. I'm excited to have an outlet to do that, whether you care to hear it or not. Unfortunately, you don't really have a choice. Now, with all that being said, I've kind of explained why we're here, why this is crazy, why this is a unique ordeal. It's only going to get crazier for College Baseball Central, and that's the guest I have on tonight, who I'm going to introduce in just half a second here. College Baseball Central added a few new members this offseason. I'm going to tweet that out later this week, a full roster, because I know it's kind of hard to keep track of. We have a sort of wishy-washy roster at times. I was trying to say that a little bit more polite. Couldn't quite place it, but we're excited about this latest edition. We have a really strong group of, I think, 21 guys under the college baseball umbrella. And I'll be honest, sometimes I've not been confident in that number. I'm pretty confident we've got 21 right now, with this gentleman / woman, I keep saying I don't know who I'm talking to, added to the roster in 2026. And I am beyond fired up to see what this looks like. And we're going to get our first taste of that tonight. My guest on this opening episode of, I shouldn't even call it a guest. It's a radio show. You're joining the radio show. You called in. We're answering the phone. Welcome, Karen McGee. If you know Karen, you see his or her tweets. Again, maybe we'll just hear a voice. I don't know. All over. It feels like he has a viral tweet every other minute. It's great to see his tweets because it's another Omaha kid. He's 25, whether he wants to admit that or not, but his picture looks to be about 65. I'm excited to hear what he has to say, and we're excited for this great experiment of bringing Karen McGee to College Baseball Central. Welcome, Karen. It's great to hear from you tonight. I know that it's a beautiful day in Omaha, so I know you'd much rather be outside, but again, great to have you, Karen.
Thank you, Noah. I'm honored to be here. I know you're just talking about going on tangents. I'm sure I'll be on quite a few, and I can't guarantee that they're actually relevant to baseball, but the
Even
fact
better.
that anyone would listen to them is just crazy to me. So I'm just glad to be here.
Karen, nobody's better about firing off a viral tweet than you, I would say. You have an unbelievable skill, whether it walks the line of safe for work or not, which is obviously something we have to kind of consider at College Baseball Central as you move forward with us. But at the same time, your tweets are unbelievable. As we were talking, I should say that over the last year, I would say that you and I have been DMing about maybe coming together in some capacity.
Yeah.
I know we were going to maybe go to a game together at some point. That never happened. I don't really know why, but I would love to do that this year, of course. My understanding is you want to be at a lot of college baseball games, just like the rest of us. And
that is the goal.
We are excited to help you do that and excited to have you on board. Karen, for those who don't know who you are, how would you first overall describe what Karen McGee is? And don't even describe it to somebody who knows what Twitter is. I want you to describe it to somebody who does not know anything about the concept of a burner account.
It is a collection of my either caffeinated or alcohol infused thoughts, usually mostly about sports, but kind of like you said, just whatever pops in your head. Um, and it's just kind of, they get spit out is probably the best way to describe them. There's no planning or anything. Like, pretty sure the algorithm prefers you to like not tweet 5 things within the span of 3 minutes. But that has never stopped me from doing double that. So it's, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm not sure if there's a completely apt way of doing so. But it's probably the musings of a 24-year-old Midwestern kid behind the face of, like you said, a nice old lady.
I know that the common trend amongst you kids, since you're on your parents' health insurance still, that qualifies you as a kid in some books.
I will stay on that as long as I can.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit. I know that it's common amongst you kids for you guys to find a random picture of somebody on Google and turn that into a fake persona. What did you accidentally stumble upon this old woman, or what was the process for finding the name attached to the face?
So I guess just at the start, me and my buddies all made accounts sitting in an old Chicago it was February 2020. So I think it was right around when COVID started, or it had started, and we didn't have anything better to do. And I guess, funny story, like, it all started because my friend who was in the state tournament for basketball kicked a chair, and a opposing fan was none too pleased and took to Twitter to voice his displeasure with my friend. And so we made these accounts to kind of anonymously fire back at him. And then, getting to the picture, I think I knew I wanted to be an old woman named Karen, and then I just put a random last name of one of my teachers, and this person popped up, and I don't think we ever thought that it would get this far. All of my friends have pretty much, for the most part, either gotten banned or just stopped posting, and so Karen is, for better or worse, the last one standing for the most part.
As I alluded to, and I think what a lot of people know you for, since you're followed by, I believe, 17,000 people, it feels like you fire off what many would call a viral tweet, maybe even once a day, but probably more like once a week. Do you have any favorites that stand in the Hall of Fame? I would imagine the LinkedIn jersey stands out.
LinkedIn, yeah. I made a quick list, and that one is probably, I mean, that was like the first OG one where like it got traction and like people were using it as like an actual meme, and I was like, oh my goodness, like I went to some thrift shop over lunch break and saw this thing, and I thought it was funny, but at that point I had like maybe 1,000 followers, and I usually got like maybe 3 likes if I was lucky. I consider that a banger at that point. And it just kind of popped off, and I was like, oh my gosh, DraftKings used this picture, blah, blah, blah. And for the good part, any like 6-year senior, you could find that picture under their tweets. But that one was definitely up there. The entire like Russian incident is definitely up there, just with how absurd it was. And that one was like the first one. Like, John Fanta was tweeting, the UNO men's basketball account was tweeting in Russian, and the whole time, and like that's the first time they like talked about it on the radio and stuff. And I was coming back on a work day trip to go visit a customer, and my boss was in the front seat, and I've got my phone up to my ear listening to them talk about Karen on the radio, and I'm trying so hard not to laugh or have them ask about what I'm listening to, because I cannot explain it. And then, I mean, the whole Moon saga that recently happened, there wasn't even like a blown up, like a viral tweet, but the whole thing was just, again, absurd. Those are my favorite ones. And then, like, the thing is, like, a lot of my favorite tweets probably have like 5 likes, the ones that I think are the funniest. But for whatever reason, like the stupidest ones where I'm like, this is what went viral. Like, you gotta be kidding me. I put a lot of time into the ones that end up with 6 likes, and not a lot of time that go into the ones that end up with 35K likes. But
That's a very humble brag. I knew the LinkedIn jersey before I knew Karen McGee, so I think that kind of speaks
I
to
think
its
most people probably
influence.
did. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's sitting right next to me. There was a whole like scandal where people were saying that it wasn't actually my jersey. And it was the most infuriating thing ever. I was like, that is my thumb. That is taking that Thrift World on 90th and Blondo in Omaha. It's in my closet. Like, I don't understand how you can even say that. That's not, I see it.
I'm glad you had the foresight to buy it. I can't imagine seeing that and not buying it, but
I know.
I'm sure you're glad in hindsight that
Yeah.
you pulled the
If I would
trigger.
have posted that and then went back, and the one regret I'll always have is like 6 months earlier at the same location, I found LinkedIn shorts that would have complemented it incredibly. But I think I got rid of them because there's no pockets, so they're highly impractical. But the whole fit would have been unbelievable.
Almost out of a dream. That would have been.
It's one of the biggest what ifs ever.
Yeah, we're definitely up there. It's on my Mount Rushmore. As you, I was going to say that the LinkedIn jersey kind of, for me, as far as Omaha, for lack of a better word, lore goes, it's on the same wavelength for me as the Burger King blood and crypt in front, where
if you know, you know.
yeah, it'll come up and it's extra funny because nobody really knows that was in Omaha. I think sometimes you'll see on a reply people are like, "Oh, this is in Omaha," and it's just funny that I know exactly where that is. I drove by it that day. I remember driving by that
before
protest.
I even like got confirmation that was in Omaha. I was like, God, that looks familiar. And I was like, there's probably a million places where that looks like Omaha. But I was very happy to see that it actually was, and I wasn't going crazy.
So every time I see the LinkedIn jersey, I think, "Hey, I know that LinkedIn jersey."
Well, I see it too, and I go, "Hey, that's my thumb."
It makes me sick that I don't frequent Thrift World or any. I'm glad you said it was Thrift World and not the Goodwill in my backyard. It makes me a little bit less sick now that I missed the opportunity to acquire it myself, but I'm glad it ended up in clearly the right hands.
I also I think that's the biggest thing is that on this whole I need to get healthy kick is that I need to be able to fit into the LinkedIn jersey again because right now it's a little snug.
That's a good barometer. Try it on every day. You feel get a little looser. You know you're doing something right.
Exactly.
Karen, you're what I would describe as, not to put you in the hot seat, the worst person of all time in the sense that you are a J-sker. For those that don't know what a J-sker is, it's kind of you have to be an Omaha resident because I would say that people in Florida generally don't know the ins and outs of Creighton athletics. But a J-sker
I did my best to tell everyone in Tallahassee. So there's a tiny subset of
you're making waves somewhere. But for those that don't know, a J-sker is generally a Nebraska football fan who, as soon as football season ends and actually the midway of football season, turn in their Nebraska stuff every time Creighton plays a basketball game for their blue quarter zip, usually. I don't believe Creighton fans own anything other than quarter zips. So, Karen, do you have any buyer's remorse on that selection you made for yourself? Because just based on everything else I've come to know about your personality, you seem like somebody who would be anti-J-sker despite being one.
It is a paradox. I mean, I would even argue that I did not make the decision. The decision was made for me before I had the capacity to make such a grave decision. And honestly, like my life would be significantly easier if I were not a J-sker, especially this year, where usually Nebraska football is terrible. And I'm like, well, at least I got Creighton basketball. But now both are equally horrible. But I mean, it just happened from growing up. Like if my parents would take me to a basketball game, I'd do Creighton basketball camps. I won Creighton season tickets at school. And then, I mean, obviously the football is self-explanatory. But I mean, I had some outs. Like my dad went to Notre Dame. Like that could have easily taken precedent. And now I don't really like Notre Dame all that much. But yeah, I mean, I just like most things in my life, I think it's just an unlucky stroke of just pain, really. I wish this was not the case, not because I'm against it, but because it's brought so much pain and sadness to my life. and then it wasn't apparently not enough pain, so I decided to go to FSU and become a fan of them as well, and add more confusion and just absurdness and pain to the trio now. So yeah, things are kind of cloudy over here, but it's whatever.
That is an interesting wrinkle, is how you ended up at Florida State, because I don't think there are a lot of Omaha kids that end up going to Tallahassee. I can understand why somebody would want to go to Florida State. I think there's a laundry list of reasons that supported your decision, but what was your how did you end up there in the first place?
So this is going to come as a complete shock to most people, but I actually did halfway decent at school, and
Really?
I know, and I tweeted this a few months ago, but like, I'm not sure if I'd rather it where everyone thinks I did well in school and I didn't, or I did well in school and no one thinks I did well. And that's where I'm at. I'm not sure which one's worse or better, whatever. But most people think I'm like a bumbling idiot. And their point, I might be now, but at one point I was somewhat smart and I got a 3 for my ACT. And so I was just applying to anywhere that was warm and could possibly give me some money. And I was actually set on going to University of Arizona until I got an email from FSU and they said, we'll give you in-state tuition. And I was like, that's good enough for me. However, I never actually got a tour because of COVID, just screwed everything up. And so my first time ever being in Florida was the day I moved into my dorm. So it was kind of like, screw it. It can't be that. And that was the correct take. It was not that bad. It was quite fun, I would say.
Yeah, of course. You're now at College Baseball Central, as I led with. You tweeted yesterday the big announcement. Been in the talks for a long time now, but the kind of question we always circled was, well, what would this look like? Because the reality is that the average bear looks at your account and say, oh, wow, this old woman has a lot of followers. And then people who know ball, per se, no, that's actually a 25 or however. I don't think anybody knows their exact age, but 20-something old male who is actually quite good at the whole Twitter thing. But either way, it's a weird dynamic for, I don't know, you're not exactly getting hired at a newspaper here with the persona Karen McGee. So I'm curious about your because we've discussed it a little bit, but we haven't got anything on paper too much. I'm curious about what your dream 2026 looks like for Karen McGee at CBC.
And I mean, yeah, you kind of touched on it. It's kind of still up in the air. Like, to me, it's just whatever people want. I've always been interested in writing and halfway decent at writing, I would like to think. So that part is no issue for me. Like, I can do blogs and stuff. But I mean, I've shown my face a few times. I guess, I mean, if you really want to go find it, you can find it. And honestly, half of my followers know me personally. So it's not exactly a complete shock. But I think I want to try to get more video, like kind of how you said that you guys want to take the next step. I kind of want to take the next step and kind of take it a little more seriously and see just how far this account can go. And firing off tweets is fun and gets followers, but if I ever want to actually make something out of this, that most likely is not all it's going to take. And I just I just want to have fun watching baseball and talking about baseball. And I think that's what separates me a little bit, is that if you don't know half of what they're all talking about, I probably don't know 95% of what they're talking about. And I'm more of a fan, or coming from just I wouldn't say like I don't know anything. I follow it probably more than most people do. Yeah. But just the technical analysis and all of knowing everyone and all of that, I've definitely got some stuff to learn, and I do want to learn too. But I think I'm coming from like a more general fan perspective, and I think honestly that's not necessarily a bad thing and can attract a more wide audience to the sport.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by the concept. That's why You and I have flirted so many times in DMs, as one does.
Yes, we
Uh,
did.
Excited to have you on board and really get you in a groove, because I know that you're not to just sit and glaze you, but your online influence is strong. And amongst a lot of people who know college baseball, it seems to be that younger age range, at least in this day and age on Twitter. Of course, there are college baseball fans of all ages, but it feels like the Twitter base is generally people I hate to say our age because I pay for my own insurance, Karen, but uh, our age group between whether it's 20 to 35, if that's an
Yeah.
appropriate age range. And I think that you and a lot of those people share similar values and a similar sense of humor. Um, the question will be, how do programs respond to Karen McGee? That's something I'm very interested in.
I
Is
am also very, very interested in that as well.
when we tell maybe Will Bolt, Karen McGee wants to talk to you. What does that look like? I'm interested in that, and um, I think that you have a lot of potential in the space. I know that you've looked at other opportunities, and for whatever reason, they haven't pulled the trigger yet. For all I know, they're going to tomorrow, and I hope that they do, Karen, because you are a strong talent, and we're excited to have you as long as. Number one, you color inside our lines a little bit, but
Yep.
not too much. And then also, as long as nobody else is knocking on your door for a better opportunity, because you are obviously a tremendous account in the space of really college sports, I would say, is where people know you the most. Feels like you go viral every week, and we're excited to have you on board just for that prospect alone.
Yeah, I'm so pumped. I mean, just hearing the sentence, "What does Will Bolt think of Karen McGee?" is something I probably would have never dreamt of, or like had to check myself into the doctor if I did dream of that. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think just not like you said, color inside the lines. I think probably have to tone it down a little bit, for better or for worse. That's probably honestly probably need to do that regardless, um, because now as more and more people find out about my account, like my boss knows about it, he's cool, but no one else at work knows about it, and I would prefer to keep it that way for at least the time being.
Yeah.
But that being said, if they were to find out about it, I probably can't necessarily tweet the things that I've tweeted in the past.
Yep.
Less so of the recent past, and more so when I was just starting out and acting like a old woman. Because
Yeah.
for about 3 years there, I was just replying with some obscene things to Colin Coward's tweets.
Hmm.
So I don't think we'll see that anymore. But at
Hard
the
to
same time, I
say.
want to stay like real, I
Yeah.
guess, and not completely just ditch what got me to this point.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think that will be like the mixture of uh, like quality content and me just spewing stuff out, spewing some nonsense. Just how we can mix that and make it digestible, I guess.
Yeah.
It
Absolutely.
remains to be seen, but I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, Karen, I think that's the word around the CBC parts is we're excited to have you on board, excited to see where it goes. And overall, as I keep saying, really looking forward to it because you are talented and we're looking to um, keep you and your people happy. You're now the younger generation, believe it or not, at 25. And we're hoping that the people who love Karen McGee love College Baseball Central, and we're excited for this marriage, which somebody at Karen's age probably should not be getting married.
It's, I mean, I imagine if it was switched around, people would be none too pleased, but I think it's fine.
Well, you must be rich, Karen. Doing wonders on me.
Yeah,
Uh,
the Twitter money is just, it's unreal. You get paid $30.
well, Karen, thank you for joining me a little bit today. We're again excited to have you on board for CBC in 2026 and beyond. And your sphere of influence in Creighton circles, Nebraska circles, and Florida State circles are an interesting combination that I didn't think I'd ever see.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been awesome. Hopefully I didn't get too off the rails.
You're all good, Karen. We will see you next time. See you soon.
Absolutely.
That was Karen McGee. Excited to have him on board in 2025. A tremendous talent, as I was saying over and over, and probably too much there as I teetered the line of flirting with Karen again, as I did in his DMs for so long. This is something that was in the discussion for about a year, a little bit. Obviously, it's an interesting dynamic. He's a burner account. How does that carry over to a journalistic enterprise, if you want to call us that? I sometimes do, most of the time, in fact. But we're looking forward to seeing how that all meshes together, because he's probably, if you want to use this word, the most famous person ever associated with CBC. We did do some work with Big Donkey for a while there, but his name was never, or CBC was never in his bio. So we're excited to have Karen's influence in that world, and we are really, really looking forward to it. I asked on Twitter today, as I unveiled this new deal, CBC Radio, and I wanted to make it similar to a radio show where I can just seamlessly bounce between an array of topics, go on tangents, and then spin right back on where I should be. And I asked you guys to fire off your boldest takes in 2026 pertaining to the college baseball season. Allow me to adjust this. Matt Grissom is losing his mind with how I just transitioned that. We'll get this going now. So I asked for your bold takes. And, of course, Jamie Plunkett fired away. As I mentioned earlier, he and I do great work with the Big 12, our new show, The Flyover League. Check it out, Spotify, Apple. It's not a CBC product. You'll have to search it up itself, The Flyover League. Jamie's a great Twitter follow as well. Shoot him a follow. Shoot him a DM and say I sent you. He'll appreciate that. If you don't follow him already. TCU guy, TCU graduate, covers TCU, covers the tar out of TCU. For those that know me a little bit, but not a lot, you might know that I'm an Iowa State fan, true and through, from, I don't know, maybe second grade, first grade. I've been an Iowa State fan since, which means a lot of torture, including last night when my Iowa State Cyclones, a top 5 basketball team, according to the top 25, not according to me, headed to Fort Worth. And I don't know if they got off the bus or what that was last night, but TCU won the basketball game by something like 7 points, and it was really a tied game, one of those where it's back and forth all game, but it's also bad back and forth where miss shot here, miss shot there, free throw here, free throw there. And I love college basketball, but I did not love the college basketball I watched last night. It actually made me more excited for college baseball coming back this Friday. But point being, my Cyclones lost to Jamie Plunkett's TCU Horned Frogs. So he later, after this tweet, I replied and said something like, oh, again, because Iowa State will go undefeated in 2026. That's not something that you can fight me on. I guarantee you they will not lose a game in 2026, just as they have not since 2001. I don't need to explain to you why that is. You all know why Iowa State will go undefeated again. Same for Syracuse, Colorado, Wisconsin, North Texas, SMU, and a few others. Iowa State will go undefeated. This isn't bold at all, but I wanted to give a shout out to Jamie and thank him for his verbal harassment of my Iowa State Cyclones, because the loss on the court was not enough. I needed this, not just the torture from this tweet, but the thread that came afterwards. Just masterclass by Jamie. Additionally, Chinook, our friends at Chinook, use code CBC15 for 15% off your order at Chinook Seedery. Another year of no rain delays at Hoover for the SEC baseball tournament. This came from Matt at Chinook, a great guy, Matt Beard, played JUCO, D2, one of those levels of baseball. Funny guy, great guy to talk to. I believe I know he's an LSU fan, which we won't hold against him. He called it last year. There were no rain delays in the SEC tournament, which is maybe the first time ever, which is why this is extremely bold. There will absolutely be rain delays in the SEC tournament, because people seem to forget that it is possible to rain everywhere. And every time it rains in Hoover, people start calling in the National Guard. They call in SEAL Team 6, and they say, oh, my God, it's raining in Hoover. We got to move it out of Hoover. It rains everywhere, folks. The Big 12 just moved their conference tournament from indoors to outdoors. It doesn't rain as often in Surprise, Arizona, but it still rains. And it absolutely rains in Hoover. Because of last year, it feels like we're due for a reset where we go from having no rain delays to maybe 7 rain delays. Maybe we get games canceled. They've got a new format as of last year because of the expanded league. We all can't sit and lie to ourselves about knowing what conference tournaments look like, because that's the greatest lie ever told. But it's something like, I think it might be single elimination all the way through. If somebody knows, comment it. I'll shout you out, because the reality is that none of us know how these conference tournaments work anymore. We never knew how the ACC tournament worked. Now we don't know how any of them work anymore. If you know how the SEC tournament works in 2026, shoot it in the comments because I'm intrigued. I don't know. I think it's single elimination all the way through, but it might be single, double, single all the way. Next one, pair ratings, great account. Like I mentioned earlier, pair ratings does a fantastic job. He is the Ken Palm / Ryan Hammer. If you're a college basketball fan of college baseball at this point, growing account, 4,000 followers, partnered with College Baseball Central this year. This is not just a friend of the program plug like it has been with maybe some of the others that I just threw on the screen, but pair ratings does a tremendous job. I don't know what companies all exist in terms of buying people up, whether it's anybody at CBC, somebody at Just Baseball, shout out those guys, somebody 11.7, what that looks like. But somebody's going to buy up pair ratings because what he's doing is unbelievable. It is so addicting to just scroll his page. Again, I failed geometry in 9th grade. I don't know math. I don't know stats. Pair communicates those stats well enough to make me feel like I do know what I'm talking about in that category sometimes. Excited to have him on board. Alabama and Omaha, though. Alabama is actually located in Tuscaloosa, which is in Alabama. I'm surprised Pear didn't know that, given he's such an analytical nerd. But if he's referring to the College World Series, I don't see that with Alabama. Justin LeBron, tremendous player. I don't know if they have all the pieces for an Omaha run. They feel like a middle-of-the-pack SEC team to me, which is what they have been for the most part the last several years. I love Rob Vaughn. I think he's a tremendous head coach. It just feel like the pieces are there this year. I will say, though, that I think Rob Vaughn has a chance to go to Omaha next year when he's the coach at Texas A&M. So just put that in your back pocket. From Crutch Bets, great account to follow if you're into the gambling scene. We're always a little bit like, I don't know how to talk about that at College Baseball Central because we like our relationship with teams and the NCAA, and sometimes they're a little squeamish when it comes to gambling. But the reality is everybody does it in some capacity. The NBA and MLB and NFL will sit and play you commercials about DraftKings and whatever else is out there. Kalshi, you can predict if I'm going to tie my left or right shoe first and invest in that opinion. So it's 2026. But shout out Crutch Bets, great account. Follow him if you don't. UCLA will miss Omaha. This is an interesting opinion because I assume he's referring to the College World Series. But I could get sarcastic. I'm not going to. I'm not going to get sarcastic. But I could get sarcastic and say UCLA missing the Big Ten tournament in Omaha would be shocking. But I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to say that. Good on me to not even bring it up. But UCLA in the College World Series feels safe because they reached the College World Series last year. They're the preseason number one in several rankings, if not all of them. And they bring everybody back. It's not a fluke that they're ranked highly. It wasn't a fluke that they reached Omaha last year. They were one of the best programs in the Big Ten despite not winning the regular season or tournament. They peaked at the right time, you could say, but they were really strong all year long. Rock Chalowski is one of the best players in the country. They have an exciting group of transfers and freshmen to complement what they return. Will Gasparino, tremendous pitcher Logan Redmond. They really rounded out their holes, and they have depth, I think, on the mound and in the lineup. So I think UCLA is one of the more complete lineups and pitching staffs in the country, and you combine those both, you got a really good chance to come to Omaha. And then you also get to rack up wins, theoretically, in the Big Ten, which appears to be down. But at the same time, you coast through a weak schedule in that Big Ten, and they play TCU in the non-conference. I don't know what the rest of their non-conference looks like off the top of my head. I imagine it's nothing terribly exciting. I know they're in Arlington week 3. So there's some challenges there. But once they reach Big Ten play, you got to think they're going to start coasting. On one hand, you build up momentum really quick. You start to think that you can't lose. On the other hand, you start playing inferior opponents enough, you're going to get used to playing inferior opponents and maybe get surprised when you play a team like UTSA in your own regional, like Texas learned last year. And not that Texas is playing inferior opponents, but when you get comfortable, teams who want to win will find ways to win. And UCLA will absolutely be susceptible to that just because of their strength of conference schedule. It appears maybe the Big Ten will be really strong, but I could see a world where UCLA is upset in the NCAA tournament, but I hate to do that. I hate to project how the NCAA tournament might go 4 months down the road when we don't even know if UCLA is gonna look good against TCU week 2. We don't know what they're gonna look like week 1. So a lot of baseball left. I like the bold prediction here on paper from Crutch. I bet there's a lot of money there in that world, just because they might be national title favorites at this point. FFW, Frog FW. Can't imagine who this guy's a fan of. TCU versus Ole Miss for it all. I remember watching TCU play Ole Miss in the College World Series in 2013, and it was Ole Miss's first time making it, maybe ever, but definitely in a long time. And I don't even remember who won the game, but I was there right behind home plate. It was a pretty solid game. I want to say somebody ran away with it. It wasn't that close, but I've seen that matchup with my eyes. I don't hate the prospect of seeing it again. I think Ole Miss is kind of slept on. In the Diamond Report, I did say that I'm kind of selling them, but at the same time, they return a lot from a team that hosted a regional. And FFW wasn't exactly willing to negotiate with TCU because it appears he's a TCU fan. I think TCU is primed to go to Omaha as well. They have all the pieces to compete for a national championship. I think they're going to actually play for a national championship. If you read some of my tweets, in other tweets, I don't say that. I just kind of pick sides and then I highlight the one I was right in. But I think TCU is going to be in Omaha, and I think they're going to win games in Omaha. So I like that side of it. Ole Miss, I'm a little bit nervous, but I can see the vision. So I appreciate this boldness. To me, it's the perfect amount because you said two teams, one of which you were going to ride or die with either way, FFW, and then you threw in Ole Miss, and that's kind of interesting. You could have said Texas, and I would say, yeah, you're kind of a homer pick. You want to face Texas in a championship setting. Ole Miss is bold. I like that. Ethan, I'm not even going to try and say that. Aschenbrenner, that's got to be right. Oregon State will lead the NCAA in team ERA and make a return trip. I assume 2 is missing to Omaha. This to me feels, I don't want to say it's easy because if you're going to lead the country in team ERA, you certainly had a tremendous season. But Oregon State's rotation is as good as any in the country, if not better than every other in the country. Maybe them in Florida, them and I don't even know who else. I hope TCU can reach that potential with Tommy Lepore and Mason Brassfield, but certainly not in potential right now with Dax Whitney and Ethan Kleinschmidt and Segura rounding out a really solid 1-2-3 for Oregon State. The idea of them leading the country in team ERA feels almost likely to me, and making a return trip to Omaha would be pretty consequential with that. I can absolutely see it happening, and to me, this isn't even that bold. Even though you're literally leading the NCAA in a stat, I still think that this is almost – you could get this with not that great of odds. Crutch bets, you let me know what the odds on something like that is. I'm intrigued because for me, I like it. I would pick that to happen, even though it's kind of crazy at the same time. And then I wanted to close out. We're here about 48 minutes in. This is my safe space. This is where I want to be, between 45 minutes and an hour. I know that this is a radio show, but so many things have happened on this CBC channel and YouTube, and we stream on Twitter where sometimes we'll go on and on and on, and we'll go 2 hours, and it's great stuff. You should listen to every minute of everything that CBC puts out because our guys watch games. We go to games every week. There's nobody, I'm not going to say nobody more exposed to college baseball, because the reality is we all have side jobs. We all work 40 hours a week doing something else that many of our coworkers, as Karen alluded to, have no idea who we are. Even myself, I'm not that I'm anybody to anybody, but I'll sit and I'll be texting a coach or an assistant coach, and somebody will walk in with a problem that's very relevant to their world life in the office, and I'll be thinking, man, I was really hoping to hear about who's pitching on Saturday coming up, but sure, let me address this problem. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic for all of us. But we love college baseball at College Baseball Central. You love college baseball because you're listening to this at 49 minutes in. I appreciate you for doing so. Again, if you made it this far, let me know if you enjoyed what you just heard. Leave a comment, like, retweet, quote tweet, shoot me a DM saying this was the greatest thing I've ever heard. This was the worst thing I've ever heard. If it sucked, I want to hear that too, because I don't want to sit and talk to nobody for an entire season. It's opening day hasn't even occurred yet. I've got a newborn down in the living room who, believe me, I'm perfectly fine with spieling about college baseball to her. I would love to talk to her about 2015 Vanderbilt, Virginia, and how it was a great rematch, but not as great as 2007 North Carolina. I would love to talk to her about that because she can't speak up and stop me. You guys can. and I want you to if you don't want me talking about that ever again. However, if you don't say anything, I'm going to keep doing this, and it's going to keep getting shoved in your face. And if you like it, good. Let me know that as well. Really, really want the feedback. Leave a like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube. It means the world to us. Follow at College Base CNT on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok hasn't been used in a while. Shoot us a follow there. We're coming back. We're excited for opening day. I'll be in Arlington. If you're going to be in Arlington too, seriously, shoot me a DM. I'll find you. We'll come say hi. I'll get you a CBC sticker. We'll do all the things together. We're going to go support our boys Lupton Drinking Club at something they've got going on. They got a Coors Light partnership. I don't know how on earth Ray Cartwright pulled that off and his friends, but we're going to go support them. So if you're in Arlington, seriously, shoot me a DM. We will find you. There's going to be everybody in Arlington, all the way from D1 baseball. You think Kendall Rogers is going to be in Arlington, but then so is CBC. 11.7 is going to be in Arlington. The Insiders are going to be in Arlington. You've got local TCU, Arkansas guys, and many others from the other schools in Arlington. It's going to be a laundry list. You're going to see all kinds of coverage from Arlington, from everybody who gets paid to do this to people who don't, myself included. We love college baseball. We're fired up for it to be back. I'm now at 51 minutes. This feels like it has the potential to be more than a once-a-week thing. Let me know. I'm serious. If you made it 51 minutes, you deserve some sort of accolade, because I hope a year from now we're doing this 2-3 times a week, and it's a big success. But I also don't want to waste my time if you guys aren't interested. So seriously, let me know. I appreciate you guys for listening. I'm going to stop rambling at this point. I've got to eat dinner. I was going to say I don't know what's coming up, but then I would get reamed for not knowing. It's we got barbecue cheeseburger sliders of some sort. I hope there's a French fry variant. But again, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm going to play this outro, and we're all gonna get out of here. All right. Best of luck, guys. Let's make it a great season.